This old versus new is going to be difficult to determine a winner because on one hand we have the brand new Studio Series Gamer Edition, Gamerverse, Gaming Greats. It's the gaming version of Transformers now. Optimus Prime from War for Cybertron, Voyager class. This is a very impressive figure. However, it's up against the original War for Cybertron 2010 Deluxe class Optimus, which even for 2010 was a remarkable figure. The engineering on this thing, the detail, the paint, for 2010, even back in the day, this was above average. We got to keep in mind this is a modern Voyager versus an above average Deluxe back from 2010. So both of these are very good figures. The new one has made many upgrades, few downgrades. We're going to get into it. We're going to get into the nitty-gritty and everything. The new Optimus does a lot of cool stuff. It's very impressive, does a lot of things that the old one does not, but this old one does have a very soft spot in my heart. It's one that I've had for many years and one that I will continue to have for many years to come. They're both really great toys. Let's get into it. Number one, this is a Deluxe, this is a Voyager. You may think, oh man, the new Voyager is kind of small, and you wouldn't be wrong on first glance, but this one is a big, chunky figure. I mean, just look at how much taller it is. Look at how much beefier the arms are. Look at how much beefier the legs are. Especially in vehicle mode, it will become very apparent that this is a Deluxe and this is a Voyager. They took a lot of the heft and decided to put it into, the chonkiness of them. And in my opinion, they put a lot of budget that wasn't really, made up quite yet because it was still a little smaller. They put it into some really nice big accessories and some nice little features that this guy has. But this one, for a Deluxe from back in the day, was even then kind of large. Kind of a larger Deluxe. Had a lot going on. Very intricate. Very nice figure. Nowadays, it kind of feels like something you get from a third party. Like, it has a lot of little moving pieces. It's very advanced, but very cool. I love both of these. Straight up disclaimer, I love them both. I love the game. I love the source material. I do think, on first glance, this one captures the essence of the game far more. If you're looking for a game-accurate Optimus from War for Cybertron, Studio Series, easy winner. By far. More accurate accessories, more accurate proportions, more accurate size to other characters, because you got to think Optimus was bigger, and this Optimus is about the same size as Bumblebee from the same line. So, not really in scale with things as it should be. But this, big chunky Prime, both of these are great. Straight off the bat, I recommend them both. But we're going to decide which one might be better for your collection. So let's get into the Deluxe a little bit in the robot mode. Because, like I said, it's not super accurate. One of the most inaccurate things that sticks out to me are the shoulder pads. They're not blocky like they should be. They're very rounded off. And that's because they transform a lot. Look at all these panels that move. The shoulders transform. Like, this is a part of the vehicle that is just kind of tucked into the body of the new one. So that is something I can forgive because it really does contribute to the transformation. The head sculpt on this one is so cool to me. This one, unfortunately, I did get it used back in the day and had a lot of scuff on that faceplate, so I did have to repaint it. I think it turned out pretty good. Yeah, that sculpt is fierce, man. That is a very fierce-looking Optimus. Very cool. I love the chest. I love the little lights right there. This one does have a lot more of the pink that you see in the game. Like, you see some on the knees, on the waist, a little bit on the chest, up there by the shoulders, the Autobot logos. Neither of them have it on the mouth plate like they should. You kind of see where the mouth plate kind of divides, almost like a jawline. There should be a pink stripe right there. Like a hot red sort of pink stripe, like all the rest you see. But neither figure did that, unfortunately. This one comes with a really cool gun. It's a pretty cool gun. It's not game accurate because it doesn't transform from his arm. It's just a gun that he holds. But it does have a cool transformation where it's like spring-loaded. So if you kind of want to replicate it, transforming from the game, he's just like, pow. Oh, it's stuck. That's why. It's stuck. Let's unstuck it. Pow. That's cool. That's really cool. I really like that. Really cool accessory, even though it is not game accurate. The arms are nice and chunky. He does have wrist swivel as well as The hands folding in, so keep that in mind. The hands do fold in for transformation. The torso, very cool. It does have a pretty big, cluster of kibble back here. But behind the kibble, it is disguising a game-accurate detail with the Autobot logo sculpted in. That's really, really cool. Again, you're not going to see it because it's, disguised by the kibble, but that's a really nice inclusion that they added that. That's so neat. The legs, he's got the big wheels back there. That's pretty accurate. It's just such a great deluxe. The articulation, ball joint at the head, does have a hinge for the panel right there, but keep in mind this is for transformation. Shoulders go up and down and also have a universal joint. And bicep swivel, elbow, wrist hinge, so you can actually... I have seen some people kind of try to, attach a gun with the hand flipped in. But it's, it's not going to be game accurate because it's not transforming from the elbow. Nothing at the waist, but you do have nice ball joints at the hips. I do say nice, but they don't move forward a ton. They mostly move outward. Thigh swivel, nice double jointed knee, but you're only going to get about 90. And the feet pretty much on ball joints, and you do get toe articulation. So the articulation on this guy is super cool. I mean, you can just feel, like you can hear, you can't feel, because you can't feel a video, but you can just hear all the little creaks and things. Those are all the little moving parts, because he has so many little intricate parts for his transformation. It is a very, very innovative figure. One thing, though, he didn't come with his Energon axe. So how I display mine, I actually take the axe that came with the Orion Pax figure from Generations Thrilling 30. And it's not game accurate, but it gives the point. It, gets the point across. So I typically display him with that axe because I think it's pretty cool. Alright, so there's the Deluxe in robot mode. Very fun, very cool figure. Love, love, love it. But the new one has a lot to talk about. There's a lot going on with this big, chunky boy. So first things first, I don't know if you noticed, he has the accurate gun arm. That's so cool, and apparently every figure in this line is going to have weapons that can be interchanged. Because all of the guns, like Optimus could have any gun. He could have a null ray from Starscream. He could have Megatron's cannon. You can give him any gun you wanted in the game. But they gave him this like default blaster. I don't know what exact blaster this is. It has been a long time since I played the game. That's really cool you get that. You do get his Energon axe, which is very, very cool this time around. It's actually 3 pieces, which is crazy. One thing you might have noticed is that his elbow is a little loose, but only to that degree. The rest, perfectly tight. Kind of odd. So if you're having the elbow bent, it's not going to flop. But if it's ever so slightly bent, like if you have it slightly bent, it's going to flop. Very odd. But yeah, this axe. 3-piece axe. So, ooh, there goes the top piece. But yeah, you have the 2 middle ones right here. You can combine it to be a shorter axe, a bigger axe. It's up to you. Very modular. You could use these as little cannons if you want. You can just have them as sticks. They're cool little pieces. But the tip of the axe is what we're talking about, because it's got all this cool Cybertronian tech. Kind of has some nice spray paint right there where it looks like it's Energon glowing. Actually looks a lot, a lot like the game. One cool thing, though, you can flip it, and you get the dual-sided axe, which is very cool. And I think that's disguised in there decently well. It's just a really cool feature. This is a very cool weapon. Love, love, love it. Very nice. And I like displaying him. I don't know if I've done this in the video yet. I was about to start the video with this, but I decided not to. You can display him with it over his shoulder. That just looks so cool to me. That just looks so cool. Look at that. So you may be wondering, where's his real arm? Does he come with a real arm? Yes, he does. And it's on his butt. And some people may think this is stupid. I think it's kind of stupid. I think it's a good way to store it on your shelf, where you're not going to be looking in between his legs and you want all the pieces on him. It's a nice way to just have it attached. Essentially, it just uses the peg that's used for the action bases, if you want to get him on a display base, which still to this day no one really talks about, but it's so cool that modern Transformers have peg holes that are compatible with Gundam action bases. It's so cool. But yeah, there's his arm. It does have a little swivel there. And keep in mind, there is no way to flip it in. It is largely because of the fact that it has this gimmick where it can interchange. Because the space that is taken up by that port and that empty space would not allow for the hand to flip in. So really keep that in mind, because the hands not flipping in will also be a problem in the vehicle mode. But in my opinion, the fact that we had to just sacrifice the hand flipping in to get this game-accurate gimmick, in my opinion, is totally forgivable. I can totally live with it. I'm fine with that decision. It's a little stupid, but again, what else are you going to do? What else are you going to do? There's nowhere for it to go. With this arm, yeah, there is somewhere for it to go, but with this arm, there wouldn't be. So why would you just have one and not the other? One really cool thing, though, the reason I took his accessories off is because it's very iconic in the game when he goes to the core of Cybertron and gets the Matrix of Leadership. This is amazing. It is so cool that you can replicate this with this toy. I'm tempted to display him like this, but I just love the gun arm look so much. This Optimus is so cool, and for this reason alone, I genuinely think this toy has a reason to exist. This is a very reasonable upgrade. This is a very, like, there's 13 years between these figures, and this figure is, like, just with the game accuracy, is so cool. You can remove it. Some people may complain, oh, you can't have him hold it, blah, blah, blah. Who cares, man? It's a transformer with big blocky fists. If he had finger articulation, he could hold it, but I don't care enough. It's just my problem. I don't care. One thing, though, I don't know if anyone's mentioned this. In the game, he gets the Matrix by kind of transporting, like, it kind of floats into his chest. Now, granted, it's a gray stick because it's a toy, but you can kind of replicate it by taking a piece of the axe and having it look like you can use some trick photography and make it look like it's floating in there. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. I definitely like that. So, let's get that Matrix back in. That's pretty much it with his gimmicks. The look of the robot itself, the legs are super nice and chonky. It does have some decent paint. It does have a little bit less of the pink. It still has it on the hips and on the chest and on the Autobot logos, but it's missing it on the shoulders, and again, unfortunately, it doesn't have it on the head sculpt. But overall, it's looking pretty cool. Really like it. I love how the back comes together. Very similar to the original when it comes to how much is kibble, but unfortunately no Autobot symbol. I just had to point that out. No Autobot symbol, unfortunately. I wish they would have sculpted it in, like, right there as a little Easter egg, but it's okay. It's okay. I can forgive it. But that's almost it with this Prime. Articulation, ball joint, swivel and hinge, universal joint. Pretty average. Very nice elbow bends, I do have to say. Like, you get more than 90 degrees, especially on this one, because of how it kind of tabs in. Swivels. You do have a waist swivel this time around, which is really nice. The legs are so much more posable because it doesn't have, like, a skirt in the front. That's actual part of the hip. Thigh swivel. Nice deep knee bend. It does have the tires in the back, which is game accurate, but they're not as big. That's because they're not super big in the vehicle mode, If they would have made it bigger, like in the game, then they would have looked ridiculous in the vehicle mode, so they had to make a decision, and I can live with that. The ankles, they are on pivots, and you do have a little bit of up and down. So, yeah, articulation on this new one, in my opinion, is better than the old one. I think it's more solid. It has less little moving pieces. In many ways, I do prefer it, but man, this old one was just so fun to transform. Speaking of, let's do it. Let's transform this old one. I did practice this before the video. I know a lot of people take issue when I, don't practice it, and I goof things up, or I miss a step. And oftentimes, in cases like that, if I miss a step in a transformation for a video, keep in mind, I just don't care. Like, I don't say these are reviews, right? This is an old versus new. We're taking a look at these toys that have years and years apart to them, and I'm not looking to review this. I'm not looking to give you every single little detail. I'm just kind of doing a retrospective of, like, hey, this is what this toy from 13 years ago is like compared to this toy that I found at GameStop a couple days ago. That's actually where I found the new one, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that already, but I did this a little out of order. I want to flip that out first. There we go. So yeah, you can see the arms are actually, because of how much they transform, they are forming a lot of the vehicle, especially up front. There's a lot that the arms are contributing. but I do love how everything just kind of folds and hinges and flips. I love how this panel on the hinge ends up moving. I love how these panels tab in. Like, isn't it so weird that the shoulders tab into the waist? I just love that when you put it into perspective like that. The shoulders tab into the waist. So weird. But again, it's why I love this franchise. Because only in Transformers can you say his shoulders attached to his waist. You know? Alright, his legs do a lot of cool flipping. A lot of cool flipping at the legs. We're going to get this hinge down right about now. You can just hear how creaky it is because there's just so much engineering in such a small toy. It really does feel like some kind of third-party, weird, unofficial thing. Like, even back when I got it, around 2012, I got it a couple years after it came out. I love how the leg slides. It's so cool. Even back then, I was like, man, this thing's really advanced. This thing's really got a lot of weird intricacies to it. You can see a lot of little panels and things you have to make sure out of the way. Like, you have to make sure the legs are, like, fully situated, like that. There's a lot of little steps you got to follow on this guy to make sure it's going to go. But once you get it there, you can see I'm getting them together. This transformation is very satisfying, and it's very rewarding. Probably my least favorite part about it is how you have to, like, go inside and, like, push the arm into that side panel to get it fully locked in. Because if you don't, then it's just going to kind of sink in. So you have to get your finger in there and then push that in to make sure it's not sinking in. And then we flip this panel down. And last step, and this is a very cool step, you take his kneecaps. They didn't even have to do this. They could have just left it like this. You take his knees, and you flip them up, and it fills in the back. This figure, like, is the true definition of deluxe. And one very unfortunate thing is that the head does this kind of hang down there. And that's probably why the faceplate was scuffed on my copy, because someone probably rolled it around. You can see there's not a lot of clearance there. And I've tried my best to try to configure it a different way. I can't figure it out. That's pretty much the only way that head's going. But, I mean, look at this vehicle mode. Look at all the little detail. You get to see the little, you know, red poking up there again. You get to see the red in the front. The little, like, pinkish red around the wheels. Little silver hits here and there. The vehicle is very nicely detailed. And you can take this, you can plug it in right there, and he's armed and ready. And one thing, too, if someone's shooting him from the back, boom. Or if you want to flip this around and decide to have him deploy it, boom. It's just such a cool gun. Such a cool toy. I love the design of his truck. This alt mode is very, very good and very successful. However, the new one, believe it or not, also pulls it off very well and very differently. So, I love this. I love how the shoulders just slide out like that. And then this big panel is going to rotate, and this untabs. I've transformed this guy a fair few times because I've just thoroughly enjoyed it. Those whole assemblies rotate, and it's funny, that's what was on the shoulders before, and now it's just kind of, you know, a part of the shoulders still, but not really. It's kind of interesting. The head this time goes inside instead of on the bottom. And then we get this piece down, and then this is very satisfying. I think we rotate this first, but we just push this in. And it just tabs in. Couple different spots, and that is just so satisfying, just tabbing all that in and getting that all squished together. So next thing I do is lift the legs up to give us some room. The arms will actually go underneath this time around, and they tab in right there, and that is all the arms do. That we'll keep that in mind. The feet and the legs can be a little cumbersome, but we're going to flip these panels out. And that's actually what used to be on the back. Now it's the shins. The feet will flip in. And I do have to point out, flipping the feet back for the robot mode, I sometimes have this issue right here where the foot pops off instead of flipping down. So keep that in mind. That's an unfortunate issue with my copy, hopefully not with yours. Because you should get this. This is a very good toy, and you should get this. It's very nice. All right. And then we'll flip the wheels out. Flip that panel, flip the wheels out. Then essentially, this is just going to go down straight down. Arms just kind of tuck in pretty naturally. They do tab in, but they basically just slide right down. And then we fold this down. And then these side panels, close that in. And look at this truck. So cool. This thing looks so nice. It pulls off the transformation so well. And it's huge. You can really tell the size difference in the truck mode. Look at that. Because when I first transformed this thing, I'm like, whoa, this thing's big. Because I was just so used to seeing this truck at this size all these years. This thing's big. And I feel like in some ways it pulls off the truck mode even better. I feel like it pulls off the front end a little better, even though we don't have like the pink anymore. We still have it around the wheels, thankfully, which is very much appreciated. I still really love that cutoff right there with the red and the blue. It just looks really good. We are missing some little spots of silver that was on the old one. It's no longer on this one, unfortunately. But the back just feels a little bit more comprehensive, and we don't have big old, thighs sticking off there. However, while I really appreciated how the knees flipped for this to cover that, there's his hands. Oh man, it's for me, it's a little bit of a bummer because everything else cleans up so well, and then boom, hands. I feel like they probably could have solved this by having a panel on the foot that flips down. They probably could have solved it by doing that. However, this figure already comes with so much. Because, I mean, we have the axe. And, I mean, I guess we can, like, plug the axe into the side if I don't drop the damn thing. Anyways, we can plug the axe into the side and have him axe to the side. I don't think it goes inside. And, again, you know how I am with weapon storage. I notoriously do not care. You can stick it places. You can stuff it inside. There might be a very specific tab where it goes. I don't care. It's going to go off to the side. However, I do, for the context of War for Cybertron, care about the gun on top. And thankfully, 2 little slots there, 2 little slots on this. And boom. That looks real good. That looks real good. Really like it. I like how the smokestacks go on both of these, actually. Man, both of these toys are just so successful at what they want to be. They're so successful. I would love to see this get like the Takara premium finish, where they do add all of the pink and they add like weathering from the game. Oh my gosh, that would be amazing. I'd love to see this guy get a premium finish. However, for the price point, for the Voyager size, like this is honestly one of the best Voyagers I've gotten in a while. Tarn is the best, but this one is definitely up there. It's one of my favorite Voyager primes, that's for sure. I actually feel like the red paint matches the red plastic fairly well too. I mean, it's not perfect, but I'm not a stickler for something like that. There's my old versus new on the original Deluxe War for Cybertron Optimus from 2010 versus the new 2023 Studio Series Gamer Edition Optimus. I'm so happy Studio Series is going into the games. I can't wait to see what else they do. I'm super happy we're getting Barricade because that was a big omission from the first line. I'm happy we're going to get a Voyager Megatron. I want them to go all out. Every character in those games I want in Studio Series. Please, Hasbro, make it happen. Branch off beyond the War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron games. I want to see the Devastation grunts. Like repaint Runabout and Runamuck. Repaint Leader Class Blitzwing. I want to see those grunts from Devastation. Go back to the movie games. The movie drones from the first game. Breakaway from the Revenge of the Fallen game. Warpath from Dark of the Moon. Please. This gamer line has so much potential, and I think it has kicked off so strongly with this Voyager Prime. Love, love it, love it. So, with all this gushing being said, which one do I recommend at the end of this video? So, if you love War for Cybertron, and you want an Optimus Prime from the game that represents the game, that is accurate to the game, go for the new one. Simple as that. If you want one based on your love of the game. But if you love toys from 2010, if you want the original War for Cybertron toy that came out when the game came out, if you can appreciate awesome engineering in a Deluxe class Transformer, the old one is awesome. You cannot go wrong with either one of these. If someone posts in the comments, I have the old one and I'm pretty happy with it. I don't think I need the new one. Perfectly valid opinion. Both are great. However, if I could only keep one in my life, it would be the new one. But, I would get that really cool, like, Dark Side Nemesis Prime repaint of that. Little caveat right there. If I could only keep one, it would be this, but I would get a repaint of that. Because I can't get rid of this toy in my life. But, you know, depends on what happens in the future. If I can find that Nemesis Prime, Dark Side Optimus, whatever it was, for a good deal, I'm going for it. But, you know, just looking at these, my go-to War for Cybertron Prime when it comes to just having a fun, chunky toy to play with and represent the game, it's this. But if I want to go back and enjoy some good old classic engineering from, 13 years ago, love the War for Cybertron toy. Alrighty, guys, there we go. There's my old versus new on War for Cybertron Deluxe Prime versus Studio Series Gamer Edition War for Cybertron Voyager Prime. These toys are great, and this new Optimus is another example of the fact that we are living in the golden age of Transformers collecting, even though they are super, super expensive. Alrighty, guys, thanks so much for watching. Special shout out to channel members, as always. Thank you all so much for the continued support. Alrighty, guys, there we go. Have a great one, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.